Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name's Ed, your friendly neighbourhood doctor, and today we're going to be doing a bit more Scrubs. We're continuing our look at season 1. This is episode 6 called My Bad.
Say ah. Okay, say oh. Oh. Everybody say ah. Oh, ah.
So that classic thing that doctors ask you to do, they put a lolly stick in your mouth and ask you to say ah, and that is because that helps raise the muscles at the back of the throat so we can get a good view, and a good view in particular of the tonsils. And the reason why we use that lolly stick called a tongue depressor is quite literally to depress your tongues. JD's not quite using it in the right way. The tongue depressor is just like hovering at the front of the teeth. That's not where you want it. You want to put it quite deep and push the tongue down.
Your long-term job status will be decided at the board meeting. Until then, and I cannot bend on this. I don't want you setting foot on the premises.
I'm going to be here all day.
That works for me. That'd be good. I hope so.
Yeah, this is kind of bad from Dr. Cox. I mean, with all mistakes, it's not just about the mistake, it's also about how you react to it. I mean, that's not just from a life advice point of view. It's really how you'll be judged in the eyes of your licensing body. So in the UK, the GMC will definitely look more favourably on you if you admit your mistake, accept the punishment, and do everything you can to remedy it rather than keep bypass or stent. So this chap obviously needs some kind of heart surgery. So this chap would be having ischemic heart, and there's two ways to manage this blockage. We could put a stent in, so that would be a sort of tent that opens up within the coronary artery and allow the blood to flow again, or a bypass where we graft a blood vessel that goes around the blockage. I've actually just assumed here we're talking about the heart, but it could be any artery that has a blockage that could be managed in these two particular ways.
There's a lot of horrible things about being an intern. Long hours, constant stress, having to deal with death. But worst of all is the simple fact that the average intern has to disimpact 15 to 20 bowels a week.
Amazing. I don't remember disimpacting a lot of bowels, actually. We generally deal with constipation a fair amount, but that tends to be with suppositories or laxatives. It would generally be the nurses that administer it. Sometimes though, if all of this fails, then we have no other choice but to take the patient to theatre for a manual evacuation, to basically scoop out the poo under a general anaesthetic. Can I just say here as well, we know that Scrubs is famous for having a backwards x-ray on its intro, but what the hell, this x-ray is completely upside down.
I'm assigning you to a very important board member whose family built this hospital with their bare hands.
That can't be true. I hate that expression.
Look for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy.
What happened?
Pre-syncope.
So
the patient has pre-syncope, so that's kind of the dizzy feeling before you pass out. So syncope is blacking out due to lack of blood pressure, usually because you're dehydrated or something wrong with the heart. And pre-syncope, we might have all experienced this before, when we stand up too quickly. So it's that feeling just before you pass out where you feel a little bit dizzy. So that's pre-syncope. And we know the patient has hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, which sounds just like a cat's walked across your keyboard, but actually breaking it down, it's really easy what it means. So hyper means increase, tropy means size, cardio meaning the heart, myo meaning the muscle, and pathy meaning something's gone wrong. So we've got an increase in the muscle of the heart causing dysfunction. So putting that all together, the patient's having pre-syncope, so dizziness because their heart's unable to mount blood pressure because of a structural problem with the muscle of the heart.
oh, great. An 80-year-old, grouchy, pretentious, smoking hot bitty.
I love that that line is put into the show. I mean, it's completely true, but this is also Krista Miller, as you probably know, the wife of the creator and showrunner of Scrubs, Bill Lawrence.
Miss Sullivan? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that you were in the bathroom.
It's okay, come on in. I meant come in the room, not here. What's the matter with you? Are you even a real doctor?
Sounds like some of the YouTube comments I get.
Wait, why are you dressed?
Oh, I'm going to a party. I assume my tests are normal or else you wouldn't be chatting me up. But gosh, Huckleberry, I sure hope we can go down to the river sometime and race frogs.
That's it.
Listen, you spoiled, bossy chore of a woman.
I'm sorry, what'd you just say?
You're in now. Go for it.
I'm the doctor here. So put your gown back on, get back in bed, and shut the hell up.
Whew. I mean, go JD. He's giving it back as good as he got. However, you can't really say that to a patient. It's not a prison. You can't demand a patient stay. I mean, you can highly recommend something and make sure they're aware of the risks, but they have the right to autonomy. So yeah, if she wants to go, obviously you need to give her all the information and make sure she understands the risk, but she's free to go.
No one talks to me that way.
Well, get used to it, Missy.
I didn't even mean to be such a hard ass just now. You can totally wait until I'm gone to put your gown back on.
Take off your pants.
Yes, ma'am.
What? What? Never take off your pants.
I got something for you.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You want to hear?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Me and Mrs. Jones.
You learned that from me?
Mm-hmm.
More.
We got a thing going on.
The beginning of any relationship is really about three things. Control.
Oh, God.
Dependence.
He was released a couple of hours ago.
And timing.
Your mother broke a leg.
Other than that, there really aren't a whole lot of surprises.
Oh, Dr. Cox, have you met
You don't have to introduce me to my ex-wife.
Putz.
Reality is that's less of a problem than sleeping with a patient, which one of them is like morally reprehensible. The other one is essentially going to get you struck off as a doctor, but also is equally morally reprehensible. Let's get that out there too.
Way too excited. I want you to get your blankie, go in a corner, and take a time out. Non-displaced femoral fracture. Carla's mom's going to be fine. Okay, what?
Your ex?
So Carla's mum has got a non-displaced femoral fracture, so the femur, obviously the thigh bone, and it's a pretty damn strong bone, so the force required to break that, again, must have been a hell of an accident. But women of this age are at particular risk of something called osteoporosis, so a condition that weakens the bones, meaning that if they do have a fall or any kind of trauma, it's more likely to cause a fracture.
Right now, the board of directors of Sacred Heart is behind that door sipping bubbly water and killing the career of Dr. Cox.
Yes, I am bulletproof.
He's taking it well.
So, no hard feelings, right? I'm gonna go.
Careful.
I did it because the thought of you rotting here in this fluorescent tomb is more fun than tipping the valet with your alimony check.
Oh, listen here, Pumpkin. If you're honestly having this much trouble getting over me, just go ahead and give me a call and I'll toss you a sympathy throwdown anytime.
Whatever the reason, it made me realize that every ending leads to new complications.
So there you go, another cracker of an episode. And our WTF moment of the week has to be JD sleeping with a patient. What is that all about? I think it's kind of a bit out of character for him as well. He always seems so shy and a little bit meek, doesn't he? But then to do that, blimey, it caught me right off guard. And for me, that was the only unrealistic thing going on because this episode was less about the medicine. So the medicine we did see about the hypertrophic cardiomyopathy and the fact that there was a femoral fracture, all of this stuff is fairly common. So I'd give this episode a fairly solid 7 out of 10, just knocking it back a bit because of sleeping with patients. what is that all about? So I hope you've enjoyed my reaction and my thoughts on this particular episode. If you have, then please give this video a like and consider subscribing too, and leave me a comment of what you thought about this particular episode. And it just leaves me to say thank you again for all the support on the channel. I hope you're all well, and I'll be back soon.